Hello everyone, this is part 1 of What If Naruto Was a One-of-a-Kind Genius, the omnipresent sage, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to see more comment down below, hidden in leaves. The streets were bursting with kids and the usual joy that lightened the atmosphere when a certain blonde wasn't taking his weekly stroll through the streets. It was always like that, should that certain someone walk through the streets, the joy vanishes into thin air, and a new kind of feeling marches through the streets with a demonic stare that threatens to devour one person and one person only. The beginning had not been in this form and shape. The village had seen better days. The hatred, unbearable hatred, was birthed when the Kyuubi appeared in a cloud of smoke, and then went on a killing spree inside the village. It had been summoned by a mad Uchiha. The only thought was destruction, and destruction was what the Biju dished out. Konoha had never seen such tragedy occurring right in its front yard since its founding, but 7 years ago, the worst happened. The spoiled child that has always had someone with big weapons and a large shield to protect it was finally beat up, by the one being that couldn't be killed. In its early years, Konoha always had the likes of the Shodai Hokage, a revered god of shinobi, the Nadaime, the god of water, and the Sandaime, the professor, the god of shinobi, the Yondaime as well, hailed as Konoha's yellow flash. With its first beating, Konoha learned to hate, and they'd held on to their hatred for years, and it didn't seem as if they were going to let go any time soon. The world had turned against the Yondaime's wishes. Instead of celebrating in joy with a hero, Konoha labored in hatred, troubled with thoughts of vengeance, yet powerless to do anything. They probably weren't like, who cares what a dead man thinks? The Yondaime Hokage is dead, he couldn't feel what they felt. In all his life Naruto has known that Konoha hates him. Aside from the love his mother gave him, the other feeling he had learned to know was hatred. He saw it every day of his life, he saw it in his bloody nightmares, he saw it in the eyes of the ignorant fools that crawled around the village streets on a daily basis. He didn't think or believe for a second that such a hateful village could ever learn to love, all it knew was hatred. For the past 7 years Naruto has been dodging bullets of death glares and fangs of curses that have been constantly thrown at him. Each time he took a walk around the village, his presence only managed to attract the worst things that lurked behind the shadows to walk into daylight. If there were vampires in Konoha, they would walk through the sunny streets just to murder him with the glares if he chose to entertain them, by parading himself while he dances to the beat of the hatred. Life has not been easy for him. He has been forced to be an adult, he was forced to grow up, understand things at a tender age, all because of one decision one foolish person made. Minato had cursed both him and his mother's life by choosing to make him a Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi and then die. His mother always tells him the story on his birthday, the story of the day he was born, the story of a 9-tailed mountain-tall furball wreaking havoc in the village. It was some cursed fate that the day he was born, that masked fool chose to rip the Kyuubi out of his mother and force it to attack Konoha. Naturally, being Konoha's leader, his stupid father chose to stuff the Biju in his gut, the day he was born. Worst of all, he pathetically died, leaving him to carry the burden with his poor mother, the only person he truly loves. No one cared who he was related to, as long as he was Uzumaki Naruto, Kushina's son and the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, Konoha would always hate him, it would always curse his existence. His mother was forced to watch this happen, she was forced to watch her only child learn to hate, she was forced to helplessly watch the hero twisted into a villain that was one attack away from being stoned to death. Naruto didn't care about his pain, but his mother's pain was greater. For her sake, he had been forced to grow. Because of his mother's pain, Naruto has learned to hate two things: the Uchiha who started it by extracting the Kyuubi from his mother and the ignorant monkeys that paraded in the village wearing the masks of humans. There were so many days that Naruto stood at the Hokage monument, just to stare down at the village that reeked of hatred. He could now even curse from A to Z no matter how many times he looked at this forsaken village, and asked himself, was his and his mother's pain worth saving these fools? The answer was always no. He could be used as a pawn for all he cared, but his mother. She was too precious to suffer the torment Minato's choice has made her go through. Itachi flashed beside Naruto at the Hokage monument. The blonde was wearing short dark blue pants, a red shirt with the Uzumaki swirl printed on the front in white. He also wore dark blue shinobi boots, coupled with bandages around his wrists. His hair stood in all its spiky blonde, cerulean blue eyes, and the whisker marks. The last piece was an impassive mask that the Uchiha was positive his mother has only seen on a few occasions, despite the mask being forever present. The genius Uchiha took off his Anbu mask, before looking down on the village. The past years haven't been easy, to the Uchiha and the Uzumaki. When Kushina confirmed that it had been indeed an Uchiha who extricated the Kyuubi from her, his clan had been dealt a major blow. No one trusted them anymore. They blamed them for the attack. For the Uzumaki, Naruto held the Biju, much worse when it became public that Kushina had held the Biju as well. How long has it been? He thought things would change over the years. But the waters do not seem like they are going to dry up anytime soon. The only thing that made him smile was that the main suspects, Uchiha and Uzumaki, have always stuck together, no matter what. Itachi glanced at the 7-year-old beside him. He respected Shisui, but there was no one he respected more than this boy. He may dislike the boy's obvious, no love, for the villagers, but the blonde had the will of a war-hardened shinobi. Itachi has never seen the blonde cry, he has never seen him look weak and vulnerable, despite the fact that each street in Konoha was a curse to him. The villagers may play ball with him, they may roast him under the lights of the stars on the 10th of October, they may drag him through the very pits of hell, but Naruto always came up without tears, he always came up looking strong, with a mask of defiance and impassiveness. He was just 7, a Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, the most hated person at Konoha, has been insulted every day of his life from A to Z, but Itachi has never seen him shed tears. My mother has cried enough, it was the response Itachi got from the blonde when he questioned. To Naruto, his mother's tears were enough, there was no need for him to waste his tears as well. His little brother was spoiled, a baby, he was no Naruto. The blonde had yet to kill, but Itachi had no doubt that he wouldn't flinch if someone got killed before his very eyes. How he wished his foolish little brother was strong as this boy. Perhaps it was because Sasuke was sheltered, he had everything he needed. Naruto had to fight lions in order to feed. The blonde had nothing, but fought for everything he had. Itachi respected that. He may have graduated from the academy at 7, but he was no Naruto. His younger brother was already in the academy, and the blonde had yet to join, but he was still no Naruto. There was no one like him. He and Naruto shared something, they were willing to do anything possible and impossible to protect what they loved. What exactly? That was a story for another day. They let you out so soon today. My assignments were completed, Itachi said. The sight is pleasant, isn't it? Depends on where you're looking. There were so many times that Itachi has asked the question, and Naruto always gave the exact answer, said in the exact tone. He never missed a beat, almost like he just played a record on the previous time he asked the question. Even so, as long as they still maintained the friendship, he would not stop asking the question, not until Naruto gives him a different answer. It remains to be seen if Naruto's answer will change, just as it remains to be seen if Konoha will ever change its attitude towards the blonde. Itachi could only hope. The hope made thin as a needle, but it was something. Something Itachi could hold on to and press on with the march of life. You should come to Anbu HQ with me. I can simply say you're my apprentice and wish to join the Anbu. He was a captain, and he believed that Naruto could learn a few things. A little appealing, but no thanks. I have no interest in becoming an Anbu. Naruto knew exactly what being Anbu meant, and he had no interest in following along those lines. He had no desire to protect this village, not even in his worst nightmare. You don't have to join the Anbu. In the past months, I've not had time to honor our meetings because of the overload of work I have to do for both the Sandaime and Danzo, Itachi said. I also have my responsibilities as a member of the Uchiha clan. Naruto turned to face Itachi. He gave the Uchiha a look, offered no sympathy whatsoever. He then looked down at the village once more before opening his mouth. Your love for Konoha truly knows no bounds, the blonde said. No wonder your family is envious. I'm a shinobi of this village, my loyalty was sworn to this village, it's only natural that I love it. Yes, but there should be limits. Konoha didn't bring you to this world, the Uchiha did. Naruto said. He didn't go further on the matter. You can spend 2 weeks away from the village, I can't be away from mother for that long, she needs me. My mother will be with her when we're away. The Uchiha clan will always protect her, besides, like my mother, your mother was a jonin. She doesn't need a brat to protect her. Naruto still shook his head. The thought of leaving his mother for 2 weeks was no different than staring down into abyss. He couldn't leave his mother. In your current state, you can't protect anyone, Naruto. If someone like me chose to attack your mother, what could you possibly do? Could you defend her when you can't even lay a hand on me? Naruto frowned, clenched his fists, and remained quiet for a few moments. I will talk to mother about it, he finally said. Itachi nodded before standing up. Come, let us get some lunch before heading towards our training ground. Later, if Itachi had been with his beloved younger brother, he would have been carrying him over his shoulders, but with Naruto, it was a different story. No matter how tired the blonde was, he always refused to be carried. If he was exhausted, he would rather sit and allow his body to rest before heading home. The rare moments he carried the blonde was when he was out cold. Naruto preferred pushing forward if he had the strength. He didn't accept anyone's hand unless it was absolutely necessary. He didn't take things from anyone. He liked to earn whatever it was that he was given. Itachi could safely say that the blonde had been forced to be like this because he had nothing in the beginning, but earned what he has. My attempts in the fireball are really pitiful, Naruto said as the two walked towards Itachi's house, at the Uchiha compound. Sasuke did better than him in this area, and that bothered him greatly. Your progress is nothing to complain about, Naruto. Unlike Sasuke, you had to learn to convert your chakra into fire type. Your natural affinity is wind, so learning fire-based jutsu was always going to be difficult. Still, though the blonde failed to see it, his progress was not good. If fire was his natural affinity, he would have learned the jutsu faster than Sasuke. That may be so, but I'd hoped to be done by now. A frown settled on his face for a few moments as he stared at his failure. I should get the Sandaime to teach me wind manipulation. You're more of a fire person, and can't offer anything I would consider useful. Itachi took no offense in those words. He wasn't a wind user after all. Will he be able to do so? He does have a lot to do. Naruto shrugged. Depends on how I ask, he said before falling silent. Itachi shook his head. Naruto really took advantage of the Sandaime's good nature whenever the opportunity presented itself. Well, the old man was always more than willing to help the blonde. He felt guilty for failing to make Naruto's life better, and giving in to the blonde's desires helped soothe his burdened soul a bit. The two slowly but surely made their way towards Itachi's house, where they were going to have dinner together, with the Uzumaki as they did every Friday for the past 3 years. Nissan, Sasuke beamed up, seeing his older brother return home, just in time for dinner. You're a little late today. Itachi smiled slightly at his beloved brother. I was a little busy, he said. Just then, Naruto walked behind the Uchiha, making Sasuke frown. He looked at his brother after noting that Naruto had some bruises on him. Were you out training with him again? Itachi nodded. Sasuke folded his hands across his chest, puffed his cheeks a bit as he pouted. You never take me to the training field these days, Ni-san. You're always with him. Itachi ruffled up Sasuke's hair, making the younger Uchiha red a bit with embarrassment. He hated it when his brother did something like that in front of Naruto. I will take you tomorrow, and it will just be the two of us. Really? Sasuke almost shouted. His brother gave a small nod before walking past him. Sasuke was left with the brother stealer, Naruto, he grunted. Sasuke, Naruto responded with a grunt of his own. Has my mother arrived? No, Sasuke said. Naruto said nothing in response, he simply turned and headed towards the exit. Sasuke didn't need to be told where the blonde was going, he already knew. Naruto was going to wait for his mother outside. After Naruto disappeared from his sight, Sasuke smiled. He sped towards his brother's room for some alone time with Itachi. They didn't get enough of those moments these days, especially with Naruto around, and Itachi working for the Anbu. It didn't start like this. Things were good for him, but it started to change when his father permitted Naruto's mother to move into their compound after some villagers had continuously harassed them by breaking the windows of their house. Since then, the two Uzumaki spent most of their nighttime in this house. Sasuke, Mikoto called, seeing her younger son speeding past the kitchen. Is Naruto waiting for his mother outside? Sasuke nodded. What did I tell you? Sasuke frowned, but didn't repeat what his mother had told him regarding Naruto's behavior. But Kar-san, Ni-san is home and I want to spend some time with him. Mikoto raised her index finger. No buts, Sasu-chan. Go wait with him. You will have your time with Itachi after dinner. Sasuke stared at his mother, who stared back. Fine, he said. There is no need to force yourself, Naruto said, coming into the view with his mother while holding her right hand. Sasuke looked straight at the blonde for a few moments before looking at his mother. Can I go now? Naruto always sucked the energy out of his system when he looked into his eyes. Mikoto nodded. Don't take too long. Tell your brother to hurry up as well. Sasuke was already heading up the stairs. The ex-Junin looked at her friend and her son before smiling. Ah, that boy really does love his brother. Almost like how someone I know dotes on his mother, Kushina said, walking over to Mikoto. At least you don't have your son following you wherever you go whenever he gets the chance. Mikoto smiled, looking down at the small form of Naruto. He has changed, you know. 2 years ago, he couldn't be away from your sight for an hour without going hysterical. It didn't matter that the blonde was right there with them. Kushina chuckled at the thought of those memories. Remind me to get Itachi a sword as a thank you for the change he brought to my son. The following day Ichiraku Ramen Kakashi's eyes subtly glanced at the blonde on his right, sitting on a stool while eating his second bowl of miso ramen. Even though the glance was a steal, the Junin knew that Naruto would notice his eyes. There was hardly any eye that could stare at his figure that he wouldn't notice. The spoils of being the most hated person in Konoha. The blonde had to look over his shoulder each time he walked through the village, just in case someone foolish tried anything. Getting one over the blonde for a civilian was unlikely though. Naruto may not be able to defend himself against a shinobi, but he wouldn't allow himself to be beaten by a civilian. If that happened, it was his pride being beaten. He has watched the blonde avoid blows from civilians after he had insulted them for their ignorance and foolishness. No one in the village has ever laid a hand on the blonde, no one would even dare should he be with his mother. Kushina wasn't afraid to rip the intestines out of anyone who as much as glared to her son. Worse, she had to be restrained if someone insulted her son or called him demon in her very presence. The former Junin had killed someone with her chakra chains for insulting both her and Naruto, even worse, spitting on the blonde. You could insult Kushina Uzumaki, but you never went after her son. There was a limit there, and anyone who went past it had suffered the consequences. When are you going to join the academy? Kakashi asked before adding, the others in your age group are already a part of the academy. Sasuke started last year. Naruto shrugged indifferently, I don't want to and I won't join the academy. It is not a necessity for me to join when it won't offer me anything that supplement my way of life. You can't become a shinobi if you don't go through the academy, Naruto. Everyone went to the academy, even the third was once an academy student. Even he went to the academy, the 3 legendary Sanins went to the academy. I don't have to be a shinobi to protect mother, Naruto simply said. Being a shinobi also meant he had to provide services to Konoha, and he didn't want any of that. Perhaps if he was forced to supply for both him and his mother, then he would consider the path of a shinobi. But as it stands, being a shinobi was not in his plans. If he got the right training, he would eventually be strong enough to protect his mother and ensure that she was safe, always. If there was anything detested, it was fighting for the protection of this rotten village. It was only good for him now because it offered both him and his mother protection. This protection did come at a cost though, but it was better than living on the run. As long as he had his mother and she had him, they couldn't be miserable with their lives. Kakashi sighed. Even in his current form, Naruto would stand in front of something as fearsome as the Kyuubi if the cause was to protect his mother. The boy may be smart, but when it came to protecting his mother, Naruto loses all sense of reason and rationality. Well, Sasuke will hop into all the glory at the academy. Don't you know, he is already seen as the genius in his class. Sasuke's efforts were good for his clan. Itachi was seen as the only light in the Uchiha clan, but if Sasuke grew well, he would lift the shadows cast upon the clan with the help of his beloved brother. Kakashi didn't believe for a second that Sasuke would do better than Naruto if the blonde was in the same space as him. Naruto's forced maturity made him think more broader than Sasuke. Once again, Naruto shrugged, he can take all the glory. It is good for the Uchiha, not that he cared that much anyway. Academy glory doesn't help protect my mother, but being strong enough to withstand all foes protects her. The only person who was going to make the blonde go to the academy was Kushina. Naruto's mother has talked to him about it, but she's never gone that extra mile to make him go even though he doesn't want to. Kakashi also knew that Naruto didn't want to go to the academy because it would rob him of the time he could spend with his mother. Kakashi, Naruto started, his tone quiet, This automatically alerted the Junin that the blonde wanted to know his opinion on a matter he was dealing with. Itachi wishes me to follow him in Anbu. Kakashi frowned. The life of an Anbu was full of secrets and it wasn't one he would wish for anyone. However, Naruto was a different matter. Granted that he has been through hell already, the world of Anbu would suit him better than being in the academy. It would also give him the strength he needed to protect that which was precious to him. To be honest, the academy offered nothing in building a strong shinobi. Still, what would Minato-sensei say about this? Minato would want his son to live his childhood to the fullest. Who was he kidding? With the choice the Yondai made, Naruto couldn't possibly enjoy a normal life under the circumstances that surrounded him. Besides, it wasn't like what his sensei thinks matters to Naruto anyway. What do you think? Kakashi asked, feeling it was better to hear the blonde's opinion before he gives his own answer. It will help me mentally. Let us be honest, my life will only become messier when I grow up, so I will need to have the physical and mental strength to deal with everything. Working behind the scenes with the Anbu will develop me in all ways. Kakashi nodded, but I don't want to be an Anbu. Itachi says I don't have to be one, but just do this with him to learn a few things. Secondly, it will rob me of my time with mother. I despair in the thought of leaving her in this hell for too long. I'm wounded that you don't trust me enough to protect your mother, Naruto, Kakashi said, both jokingly and seriously. Naruto knew that he had been the one protecting his mother during the time she carried him, so he should have a little trust in him. Naruto gave a simple response, "Mother is all I have." Kakashi understood perfectly. If something happened to his mother, Naruto wouldn't mind releasing the Kyuubi and watch this village burn to the ground. Kushina was the only family Naruto had, and the only person Naruto was emotionally attached, for real. Once more again, Kakashi sighed, things have changed a bit, but before Itachi, Naruto was always beside his mother, and he wasn't below giving anyone a threatening stare for coming between him and his beloved mother. Naruto's world was made of Kushina Uzumaki and Kushina only. Naruto himself now no longer lived in that world. The blonde was willing to dive into anything as long as it meant protecting his beloved mother. It was a concern for Konoha that Naruto had no love the village. Somewhere in the offices of Anbu HQ, Naruto was marked as an S-rank flight risk. It was a fact that no one could deny, not even the Sandaime. No matter how much he loves the blonde. The only reason the blonde was even in Konoha was because his mother didn't want to abandon the village her husband died protecting. Even if he leaves, Naruto was smart enough to realize that it would only risk his mother's life as they would be marked as missing nins. There was something that Naruto was not willing to do, risk his mother's life. They were secure in Konoha, regardless of the treatment they received. If anyone so much as risked her life, then they would see the demon lying under that mask of indifference. There was a line around Kushina, and no one was supposed to cross it, not even Naruto. Have you talked to her about it? Kakashi finally asked. Naruto gave a slight shake of his head. No. You should, Kakashi said. Given everything, it shouldn't be bad for you, and it would be enough to get the elders off your back as they will think you're on the road to serve the village. It should also build you up, the Junin said. Don't you want to say that my life is already screwed up that Anbu cannot do anything but make things a little better? Naruto said, eyeing the lazy nin. Kakashi shrugged carelessly, I don't have to say it, even your mother already knows this, though it took some doing for her to accept that Naruto lost his childhood some time ago. He didn't even have a friend his age. You have a grim way of looking at your life, Naruto, a 14-year-old Ayami said, smiling sadly as she walked over to the counter, holding another bowl of ramen for Naruto. I'm just being realistic, Naruto said. Ayami shook her head slightly. It was really sad just watching him. A 7-year-old who hung around men old enough to be his father. If he wasn't eating with the Sandaime, it was Kakashi or Itachi. 4 times a week it was with his mother, and there were those rare moments you'd see Jiraiya sitting beside the blonde. It was always awkward silence though. I told you allow me to change things for you, but you continuously refuse. If you'd accepted my help long ago, you would be having a wide grin on your face about now, Ayami said, with a wide smile, fist pump up as if she could clearly see her favorite blonde smiling at her. I doubt it, Naruto responds before digging in on his third and last bowl of ramen. Ayami merely sighed before walking away. My beloved son must be abandoning the love he once had for his mother, Kushina's voice sounded, causing both Naruto and Kakashi to smile. Don't you love your car-chan anymore, Naru-chan? Not long ago, you refused to eat without your poor old mother. As the red-haired Uzumaki woman settled down beside her son, Naruto responded with an expression that would surprise most, a somewhat happy look that was complemented by the smile on his lips. Don't say that, Ka-san. You know I will always love you. Kakashi sighed. Kushina was teasing, but the seriousness in Naruto's tone made it obvious that he didn't know. Well, it shouldn't be unexpected given that he never jokes about loving his mother. Sometimes I wonder if he really is smart as he has shown to be. Kushina merely chuckled, ruffling up Naruto's hair, causing the ever-so-stoic blonde to blush in embarrassment. Mother, not in front of Kakashi. Why? Don't you like your mother's affection anymore? Kushina gave a mock-hurt look, which, ridiculously, Naruto failed to notice. The blonde held up his hands in a defensive manner, facing his mother. It's not that. I just mean that. Kushina placed her index finger on Naruto's lips, shutting him up. I'm just teasing, she said with a warm smile. Now, finish up so we can go buy you something new to wear. Naruto nodded. Kakashi smiled, seeing Naruto acting like a normal brat in front of his mother. It was refreshing to see the blonde smile. His smile only widened in front of his mother though. But the fact that it was real made him happy. Well, let me leave you two alone, Kakashi said before disappearing in a puff of smoke, but not before handing Ayami the bill for his food. I'm so jealous of you, Ayami said to Kushina. You can get Naruto to show all kinds of emotions, but I can't even get him to smile. Naruto came here every day, and Ayami has never seen him displaying more than one emotion, if any at all, to someone other than his mother. The Sandaime rarely receives a tiny smile in those rare occasions along with Kakashi. With his Uchiha friend, both were depressing. She'd never seen him smile ever since they started coming to the ramen stand together. Kushina smiled. Well, I am his mother. A mother knows her child best, she said, looking at her beloved Naru-chan. She knew it wasn't easy for him, it wasn't easy for her either. He may be indifferent to most things, but Kushina was happy just knowing that her Naruto was able to smile a real smile and blush in embarrassment when she was around. At least she offered him happiness. She wanted him to have more, but that seemed unlikely. Regardless, she was happy that she was alive to raise her child. 7 years ago, she watched Minato seal the Kyuubi in their son, while in her weakened state, she held the Biju with her chakra chains. The dead demon-consuming seal cost Minato his life. She regretted teaching him that seal. Her family had other ways of sealing Bijus without the need to sacrifice one's soul to the Shinigami. She should have looked harder and showed him a better seal. But that was that. This was reality. A reality she has learned to embrace. For the sake of her son, and her own well-being. Minutes later, Mother, I don't want these pants. Naruto said strongly, glaring at the red short pants his mother was trying to make him wear. He'd come to realize that if he doesn't start saying no, his mother was going to make him wear a dress one day, just to embarrass him. But, Naru-chan, they will look good on you. Don't you want to match the color of your pants with your mother's hair? Kushina said, holding out a pair of red shorts. She really thought they'd look good on him, but her son didn't agree with her sentiments. Your hair is beautiful, Mother. I would have even preferred it if I was born with red hair like yours, but I will not wear those pants. Kushina sighed. Fine, but you know they don't have your size at Hisaragi's, she said. Regaining his composure, Naruto spoke. We can always order, he said. Ordering clothes would cost more, but she was willing to do anything for her son. I got you something, Kushina said, bringing out a red scarf. Do you like it? Naruto beamed up. Yes, Mother, he said. He took the crimson cloth and washed it over his face before speaking once more. It's not soft as your hair, but still wonderful. He then grabbed his mother's hand, dragging her to the counter so that she could pay. Hold up, Naru-chan, Kushina said. Don't you want anything else? The blonde shook his head. No. He seems happy today, Takada, the shop owner said, looking down at the smiling blonde. He should be. His mother just got him something nice, Kushina said, handing out the money for the piece of cloth. This was just one of the 2 clothing shops the two could buy clothes without being overpriced or getting a disturbing glare from the shop owner. This man, Takada, was really nice towards them. Perhaps it was because he has known Kushina for a long time as she has been buying her clothes from this shop from her younger days. This was one of the stores that sold Uzumaki. Come back again when you want something, Takada said, as mother and son walked away from the counter, having purchased their item. Lost in thought, Naruto bumped into someone at the door, causing him to fall back. The man he'd hit, middle-aged, short black hair, fair skin, civilian clothing, glared down at the blonde. Watch where you're going, vermin, he snarled as the blonde got up. The temperature went cold drastically. Excuse me. Kushina started, a murderous aura surrounding her. What did you just call my son? I dare you to repeat it. The woman looked more of a demon than a beautiful and sweet Uzumaki woman she was. The cult smiled nervously, heart racing. It was certain that if he answered incorrectly, he would not see the light again. Honestly, between the blonde and the woman, the mother was the real demon. He was saved when Naruto grabbed his mother's right hand. Mother, leave it be. This filth is not worth your wrath, Naruto said, the cheery demeanor all but a memory. Besides, you shouldn't dirty your hands by touching such a despicable monkey. The fear of was quickly replaced by anger in the man when he heard Naruto speak. What did you just? Naruto turned his face, gave the man a very, very nasty look that was enough to make him trip while moving back unconsciously. Once more smiling, Naruto faced his mother to calm her down. Come mother, I want to show you the progress I made with the seal you taught me. Naruto didn't give his mother a chance to cast one last threatening glare because he started dragging her away. Slow down, Naruto, Kushina said. Sorry, Naruto apologized. Kushina shrugged it off. I'm surprised that you're making good progress with your fuinjutsu. Well, this confirms one thing, you're truly my son. Naruto smiled. How soothing it felt just to hear his mother say those words. Fuinjutsu was an art that his mother did better than anyone in the village. Minato may have been hailed as a master, but many of the seals he knew were taught to him by Kushina Uzumaki. Naruto wanted nothing more than to make his mother proud by excelling in whatever she taught. He swore to even to do it better than that man. 2 days later, this was the house she once shared with Minato, her beloved Yellow Flash, but now he was no more. He disappeared along with the cold breeze that washed over Konoha 7 years ago. No matter what, this was hers and Naruto's home, their house, just the two of them. The Uchiha compound offered them some security and comfort, and it was fun hanging out with the main family, Fugaku's family. Well, it was fun for her at least. She always had Mikoto to cheer her up. Both were retired Junin who now took care of their families. It was a different matter for Naruto though. Her son got along with Itachi and Mikoto, but when it came to Sasuke, it was another matter, and she hasn't figured out his relationship with the Uchiha clan leader. Kushina smiled looking at her son. They were sitting beside the dining table, having the family dinner. This was their home. This was everything that Minato had left them. The burden was outside. Sometimes unbearable, sometimes she got bloody urges to kill people, but this right here made up for all for it, a quiet family time with her son, seeing much more of his beautiful smile. Something wrong, mother? Naruto asked, seeing the look his mother was giving him instead of stuffing down her meal. Kushina shook her head before going back to her meal. Silence settled in as mother and son ate the dinner, both deep inside their thoughts. Naruto broke the silence. Itachi wants to take me as his apprentice, as that would pass my presence in the Anbu. Kushina frowned slightly. He wants you to join Anbu. Naruto gave a nod, but I turned that down. He pointed out that following him will represent a good opportunity for me to learn. I don't have to necessarily join Anbu. I would rather you join the academy, Kushina said. Naruto simply nodded, and that meant one thing, he was going to tell Itachi that he couldn't do it. But he wasn't looking forward to joining the academy either. He had seen Kakashi pathetically fail many academy graduates, and he knew that they didn't graduate as real shinobi but mere hopefuls. Once dinner was done, Kushina took their plates and went to the sink to wash, with Naruto following behind. While the mother washed, the son placed the plates in the cupboard. Have you considered making friends your age, Naruto? Naruto shook his head. His response didn't take a second to follow. No, he said. The only friend I need is you. Not that it wasn't pleasing to hear her son say that, Kushina still shook her head. You need to make friends, Naruto, friends your own age. I'd thought you get along with Sasuke, but that went down the drain when he became jealous of your relationship with Itachi. Naruto looked at his mother curious. Why is making friends that important? I have you, and that is that matters. Kushina didn't want to force Naruto to do anything he didn't want to, but as things stand, she would have to do so for his own good. Even I had friends, Naruto, and I do have a friend now. A friend is someone you laugh with, someone to can depend on, someone like Sasuke's mother. But I do with you, Naruto pointed out, making Kushina sigh. This would have to do another day. It has been a long day and she needed to rest. Once they finished doing the dishes, they went towards the living room, but didn't stay there for too long. Do you want me to read you a bedtime story? I'm too old for that, Naruto said. You're just my baby boy, Naru-chan, Kushina said, knowing that it would only make Naruto frown. While he enjoyed being showered with affection by his mother, he also liked for her to see him as a grown-up, despite being just 7-year-old. Kids these days. Let's get you bed, shall we? Naruto nodded with a small smile, allowing his mother to take him towards his room. It was a neat room that had a small bed pressed against the wall opposite to the door, a drawer on the left side of the bed. Kushina watched quietly as Naruto got into bed. Once he settled, she sat down on the edge, held her hands together between her thighs. She didn't like showing Naruto a sad smile, but this place always brought it out. I'd imagined that your father would be here, with me when tucking you to bed, Kushina said quietly. While I was still carrying you, I thought we were going to have the perfect family, just you, me and Minato Barker. All the more reasons to hate that cursed Uchiha who pulled out the Kyuubi from his mother, forcing it to attack Konoha. If it hadn't been for that masked man, none of this would have happened. His mother would have been smiling, Konoha wouldn't be tormenting them. Perhaps he would have been given the chance to see that idiotic grin Kushina had said Minato would carry in some cases. But one man had changed fate, he had changed things for him. No, more like screwed it up. And for that reason, Naruto would be more than happy to mutilate the evil bastard who has caused his mother pain. I told Minato that you also needed a father, that I couldn't do it alone, but he said I could. I'd offered to reseal the Kyuubi within me again, but he was thinking about the future. Two things Minato did and thought right, sealing the Kyuubi in him instead of his mother, and saying she could raise him well. He didn't care if he could be used as a sacrifice or turned into a guinea pig, as long as his mother wasn't put in any of that. Naruto Uzumaki would always know how to smile. His mother had also raised him well, so much better that he didn't have any complaints but to be thankful every day for being birthed by her. You have not failed as a mother, you have raised me well, and have taken good care of me. If they gave awards for best mothers, I would give you a crown of gold every sunrise for being the best mom, Naruto said with a smile. You're the best, and I couldn't have asked for a better mother than you. You are all I need. Kushina turned towards her son, offered him a warm smile, and I couldn't have asked for a better child than you. A sad smile replaced the warmth in her. I'm sorry you were forced to grow up so fast, Naru-chan. I wish you had lots of friends, played with other kids in the park. Naruto closed his eyes. He may have grown so fast, but his mind still needed all the rest it deserved. You make up for everything, mother. Your smile is worth a lot of friends. Smiling once more, Kushina rose up. Thank you, Naruto, she said, leaning down before placing a soft kiss on Naruto's forehead. Good night, Sochi. Sleep well, Oka-san. Midnight as always in situations like this, more precisely, when his gut felt the spiritual wave sending him a message that something was wrong with his mother, Naruto has always woken up without a second pause to confirm whether the gut feeling was right or not. When it concerned his mother, Naruto didn't need to confirm anything. All that was needed for him was to be a good son to his mother and nothing else. The night sounds didn't bother Naruto for a moment as he walked through the lightless passages of the home he shares with his mother. The world could turn into a lake of lava, but he wouldn't even spare it a glance while his gut grumbled something about his mother. Naruto reached his mother's room and gently opened the door. The room was dark, but his eyes could make the image of his mother quite perfectly. The soft yet sad sound of her melodious voice crying reached his ears, and Naruto only knew one thing. Comfort mother. Situations like this have occurred in the past and it happened on about 2 or 3 nights in a year. He knew of it from age 4, and that was when he had stopped crying. His mother was crying, he didn't need to add more to it. Her tears were more than enough for 2 of them. Ever since he made a promise to never cry again, Naruto has never shed a single tear. Naruto walked over to his mother's bed. She had a picture of her and Minato, smiling like a couple of idiots, pressed against her chest. There were so many instances where Naruto thought of burning down every memory of Minato in this house, but he couldn't do it. Still, the fact that his mother was crying, because one man had died, brought out the worst feelings in him, and made him remember the negative feeling he first held. Before Naruto hated Konoha, he hated Minato for leaving his mother. Kushina Uzumaki would not be crying if that man had still been alive, but she was crying because he had chosen to die to save thousands of ungrateful monkeys. The one person he hated enough that he'd vowed to kill is the masked man who extracted the Kyuubi from his beloved mother. If it hadn't been him, Minato would have been here and his mother wouldn't be crying. Naruto cleared his thoughts before taking the picture frame from his mother. Once done, he threw it away carelessly. He couldn't replace Minato, he couldn't. Still, he could offer something that dead man could not, comfort. No word was said as Naruto slipped into bed, allowed his mother to hold him like a pillow. Even though the hold was tight, he didn't complain, or make a sound. Everything in the name of making Kushina happy was accepted. He was willing to lose his fingers for his mother. As long as she was able to sleep better, he would always smile. The following morning Naruto said his goodbye to his mother before heading out. Kushina spent her daytime at the Yamanaka flower shop, while sometimes just hanging out with him at the park or with Mikoto. The moments with his mother were a treasure to Naruto. He would certainly go on a killing spree if anyone sought to disturb those memories. Since he didn't go to the academy, he had plenty of time to gain new experiences with his mother. Soon as Naruto went outside, going by the backside of the house as it was the shortcut to the Uchiha compound, he was greeted by a lone man, happily harvesting in the garden he worked so hard with his mother to make. A more twisted look appeared on his face, complemented by a deep frown. You, people, truly are baboons. I expect to see such behavior from uncivilized monkeys, not people. You really go far to prove me right, Naruto said, eyes narrowed with deadly intentions. It was better to deal with this than allow his mother to bloody her hands once more again. The man, looking to be in his early 30s, with long black hair and black eyes, looked down at Naruto. He didn't move away from the plastic bag that was carrying the vegetables he was stealing. What did you just call me? Naruto ignored those words. Instead, he chose to focus on his own dialogue. I better deal with this before mother comes out, he said, taking out a kunai from his pocket while walking towards the man. Are you ignoring me, vermin? That audacity of trash to ignore him while he talked. Before anything could be said, an Anbu appeared in a flash. He apprehended the intruder before looking at Naruto. I will take him to Anko, he said monotonously. I dislike being tempted like this, Naruto simply said, knowing full well that the Anbu had first watched what he would do before moving on to defuse the situation. The Anbu merely nodded before disappearing in a swirl of leaves. With the obstacle gone, Naruto gave one last look to the house and pocketed the kunai he always held before heading towards his destination. Uchiha compound. The walk within the Uchiha compound was always pleasant. Naruto had no feelings of being alienated as he walked through the place. Their mutual feeling from Konoha helped in understanding each other, and made things better for them. While walking through the compound, there was no fear of someone jumping on him to attempt something stupid, there were no hateful glares that tried to peek inside his mind. Naruto-kun, Mikoto said, smiling at the blonde who was outside of her house. Please come in. Despite the fact that he was overly familiar with this house, he always knocked each time he came here alone. Thank you, Naruto said. Surprise me, Mikoto said, hands folded across her chest. Naruto gave a barely visible smile, that Mikoto was able to catch. He shook his head. No surprises, Mikoto, he said. Perhaps one of these days I will surprise you, but not today. That better come soon, I'm losing money to Itachi, Mikoto said. Is your mother still at home? She should be, Naruto said. Mikoto smiled, Itachi will be down in a few moments. He's still getting Sasuke-kun for the academy. That said, the former Junin disappeared to another room. Not a second after she disappeared, she peeked through the door from the living room. Go up to Itachi's room if you don't want to wait. Minutes later, the moment Sasuke saw Naruto, he had requested that Itachi accompany him to the academy. Judging by how Mikoto looked, it was obvious that she had said she would walk him. Along the way, the younger Uchiha had walked in all of Itachi's sides, just to ensure that Naruto wasn't close. Obviously, he wanted to monopolize his brother's affection. A pity Naruto didn't seem interested in joining on with the competition. After Sasuke had walked into the academy grounds, Itachi and Naruto disappeared off to the Hokage monument. I cannot bear it anymore, Itachi. I can't continue to watch her like this. I know it only happens on a few occasions, but it doesn't make me happy. The worst feeling is that I don't know how to stop it. My mother doesn't know about it, does she? Naruto shook his head, no. Tell her. Only she can help in this situation. I'll speak to her first, Naruto said. In the meantime, let us step up with my training. I don't care if I have to return home unconscious every day. How far was one willing to go to protect the things they loved? For Naruto, there seemed to be no limit to what he could do or sacrifice to protect his mother. Itachi also has something he wants to protect, but was he willing to carry the burden? Naruto would without doubt. As it stood, he would be forced to test his limits. Just how far are you willing to protect your mother, Naruto? He already knew the answer, but he wanted Naruto to say, one more time, for his own conviction. There is no limit, no place that is far, no abyss I will not dive into. I will grow wings if it means protecting mother. A couple of days later, Kushina's house. It was just after noon. Kushina had returned from the flower shop, where she usually gathered herself to kill some time. Naruto was no longer the little brat that needed her eyes to be looming over his figure in all corners. He was no longer the jumpy boy he was when he had yet to utter a single meaningful word. While she was letting the cool breeze wash over her crimson hair, under the daylight of a Tuesday, she was relaxing behind her house, at her garden. The wind changed directions, going north. Her eyes traveled at the speed of light, heading straight at the back entrance of her house, Jiraiya. No word left her lips as she stared straight at the perverted white-haired Sannin. Hello, Kushina, Jiraiya greeted, his tone low, mixed emotions all over his face. Jiraiya. The tense silence settled in after Kushina's response. She wasn't by any means being hostile towards him, nor she was friendly, just neutral. Jiraiya coughed up a wry smile. You're never going to make this easy for me, are you? I'm not trying to make things difficult for you, Jiraiya. I'm quiet because I'm giving you the chance to make your story. Jiraiya suppressed a strong urge to frown. He didn't have any story to tell. He'd already told all his stories in the past couple of years. He was close to begging now, weeping while on his knees just so the woman could accept him in Naruto's life. Please, Kushina. We can't go on like this. I'm truly sorry. If I could back in time to take a different path, I would. You know what Naruto would say about that. Well, maybe you should try making the impossible possible, Kushina said, a mild smile playing over her lips. The reason I even talk to you is because you were there when we needed you the most. Had you not been there that day, I wouldn't even speak to you. How could Jiraiya could about that regrettable day? It was forever engraved inside his spirit and mind. The day the Sandaime announced Naruto Uzumaki as the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, that had been hell itself. He had never been so disgusted by Konoha's people, he had never questioned his loyalties to the village, but that day, he questioned himself. When the third announced Naruto as the hero that Yondaime made him, Konoha had rioted. They'd acted like a pack of hungry wolves, and nearly burned down the village. It was that day that Konoha stood still. Konoha wanted nothing but to burn down Naruto. Kushina was in the hospital, unconscious due to the loss of energy induced to her by the extraction of the Kyuubi. Jiraiya had never seen his sensei downright pissed, but that day, he had seen Sarutobi wear the mask of a god, walking around the village with Naruto in his hands, an aura of death oozing around him. He had dared anyone to attempt anything, dared anyone to touch Naruto. Of course he didn't allow his old sensei to outshine him. He had worn the gown of a Sannin and walked beside his sensei. A couple of civilians were executed after they were found trying to break into the house in the days that followed. After trouble ceased, Kushina released, Jiraiya had disappeared once more. Kushina stood up, and offered Jiraiya a weak smile. I think you would be a good influence on my Naruto. This is why I didn't refuse when you had him sign the contract with the Toads. However, that will depend on Naruto. If he doesn't want you, I won't force him. Meanwhile back and forth it went. The cool wind kept blowing by his face as the swing took him forth and back. For Naruto, there was no enjoyment to take from the swing, no joy at all. The fact that he was swinging alone was just a symbol of how pathetic his life was when his mother wasn't around. If she had been here, she would have been behind him, pushing him. A whole new world seemed to envelope the depths of his soul when he was separated from his mother, but Naruto didn't mind, not at all. The only person who deserved to see the true might of his smile and happiness was his mother. Bored? No, he wasn't bored. Not the least. While the lonely swing did its round, on his right hand was a fuinjutsu book that he was reading. The sealing art formed a part of his core, it was his mother's pride and joy, and so it would be his. Because he doesn't go to the academy, he had to learn to study on his own. Often his mother helped him when they were at home, and with fuinjutsu she was the one who taught him, and was still teaching him. As he would like to affectionately call her, she was the wizard of fuinjutsu. He missed nothing of the things they taught at the academy because all the books were available to him. Thanks to one of the few things Minato did, he didn't leave them broken without treasure. The man had left a library that was worthy of a cage, and Naruto wasn't afraid to make full use of it. He could even proudly say the library alone taught him more than enough, and much more valuable than the weak things they taught at the worthless ninja academy. The thought of that crap really did put a frown on his face. There was no good done there, nothing at all. The only children who came out of the academy ready to be ninjas were clan children. The clans had enough resources and power to hire tutors to teach their children at their compounds, from clan techniques to everything they needed to know about the shinobi world. The academy didn't even teach the students what the shinobi world was like. It was truly unfortunate that they had to blindside the kids. Oh, well, it didn't concern him. It shouldn't. He was content with burying himself within his father's library and attaining all the knowledge he could, while Itachi, Kakashi and the Sandaime gave him private lessons. Back and forth it went, as Naruto flipped a page on his book. He was trying to ignore everything that was around him, a bunch of kids making noise around the park. He hadn't come here because he wanted to, his mother had made him come with that devilish blonde Yamanaka girl. You can't let a girl go to that place alone, Naru-chan. Who's gonna protect her from bullies? His mother has so said with a wide smile. Definitely playing a trick on him. But it worked, not because he had the interest in protecting the girl, but because his mother had said so. Speaking of the blonde. There she was picking up troubling again. Hey, leave her alone and pick on someone your own size. Ino shouted, glaring at the three bullies who were busy bullying a pink-haired girl because of her rather large forehead. Who's our size, you? One of the boys said, grinning at the wonderful formed Yamanaka heir. Well, no, but leave her alone. Ino was firm, not wanting to see another girl being bullied by a worthless bunch of bullies who only picked on girls instead of fighting with other boys. Oh, will you look at that, she wants to join in the fun, another of the boys said, turning his attention towards the Yamanaka. Naruto sighed, always picking up trouble. He ignored the whole thing as though it wasn't happening. He looked firmly at his book. Fuinjutsu was really a complex art that needed time and energy. You also needed a mind that was able to think out of the box, a bit crazy to be able to think explosive stuff. But since his mother taught him to read and write, he had been looking at Fuinjutsu, he could understand it well, and he knew he would surpass his mother one day. The art was embedded inside his mind more than anything else. Naruto. Ino called, her voice high, a bit of fear audible. Her fellow blonde ignored it though. Naruto. A little help here. Once more again, Naruto ignored her. That loser can't help you. Look at him, he's frozen down and can't stand, one of the boys said with a chuckle, staring down at the cornered Yamanaka girl. Ino tried to ignore the boy breathing down her neck, and glared at the side of Naruto. That bastard, she thought angrily. Naruto Uzumaki, if you don't come here and help, I will tell that you just watched a girl being bullied. That seemed to catch Naruto's attention. He closed his book, placed it inside his pocket, and looked at the direction of the girl, but still didn't get up. What? His tone was low, but it was enough for Ino to assume what he had said. Are you just going to just watch two girls being bullied by these brutes? Ino shouted again. Hey, who are you calling a brute? Yes, Naruto simply said. He was dead serious and Ino knew it. If you don't come here, I will tell your mother, and you know how disappointed she will be when she finds out what you did. It didn't take a second for Naruto to be at Ino's side. He ignored the boys and stood beside the boys who had cornered her, while the other two were just behind him, along with the pink-haired girl. I thought we had an agreement. Yes, but I had asked nicely and you didn't help. What other choice did I have? He had asked for it by refusing to help when she had asked nicely. If he wanted to do things the hard way, then she had no problems following his lead. The boy in front of Ino placed his right hand on Ino's mouth, stopping her from talking further. He then turned to Naruto, "Beat it, trash, unless you want to join in the fun." Despite the position she found herself, Ino wasn't afraid, not when her Black Knight was standing before her. Naruto would make things okay, he would scare the boys away, he always did. For this reason, she had no reason to be afraid, no reason to struggle. Why was he called up into a situation like this? Normally, he would have preferred to just mind his own business. Ino could be bullied for all he cared, she was the one who was sticking her nose into things that didn't concern her. Who played hero when they didn't have the power? You certainly didn't enter a snake's burrow when you had no plans to counter its venom. He didn't like playing hero, not when his mother wasn't concerned. Another boy placed his right on Naruto's shoulder. "You still alive?" he asked, mockingly, seeing that Naruto had yet to say a word. Naturally, he assumed the blonde was frozen in fear. Naruto's neck nearly snapped when he twisted his head to face the boy. The look on his face was anything but nice and indifferent. Ruthlessly cold look on his eyes had its fangs on the boy's throat, its poisonous venom sending cold chills down his spine. He quickly took off his hand from Naruto and wanted to do nothing but run away to his mother and say, "Car-san, you were right, he is a demon." But he didn't. He just took a step back. "Come on guys, let us get out here." The boy didn't give a reason as to why, he just left, without even looking back. The other two quickly followed, not before giving their victims one last shove. Ino quickly recovered from the whole ordeal and went towards Sakura, who was still on the ground. "Was that difficult?" "No, but I would rather you didn't do something like that again," Naruto said, already walking away. Thank you," Sakura wanted to say, but he had already made the distance. Ino gave the girl a smile. "Don't worry about it, he's just like that. Ignore him for now. Come on, let us go play." Sakura's lips twisted into a weak smile, before nodding softly. Up she went and followed her new friend. Naruto walked towards a tree in the park, sat down while leaning against its trunk. Weak girls, he thought. Kushina Uzumaki had fought her bullies, either be boys a boy or shinobi, she had beat up anyone who attempted to bully her. His mother was strong, she didn't rely on anyone to fight for her. But these girls, they relied on someone else to protect them. With her big personality, why couldn't Ino fight off their bullies like his mother did? Yes, she could fight off some other girls, by mocking them at least, but when it came to stubborn fools, she always relied on him. The first time he had been forced to play hero was about 2 years ago. A certain Hyuga was close to having her eyes peeled out simply because they looked weird. Naruto would have just ignored it, and mind his own business. Why was he to help when the girl had no relations to him? But the girl's cry for help had been so pathetic that had even he pitied her, a rare thing. He hasn't shown anyone pity since then, that was a one-time thing. Still, his mother had been proud of him. She was so happy. Clearing over those thoughts, Naruto chose lay back, his Fuinjutsu book over his face. No one would dare come here to disturb him. And he would murder anyone who would take the book his beloved mother gave him. That in mind, Naruto decided to nap while Ino wore herself out with her new friend. Boo, Kushina said, shaking her son furiously. Unfortunately for her, Naruto didn't freak out. "Mother," he said, removing the book on his face. He could never mistake his mother's presence or her touch. There was no one who touched him like her. Even if his sense of touch was to leave him, he would still recognize his mother. "Ah, you're no fun anymore," Kushina said. "Well, will you look at that, Mama's boy is smiling in the sight of his beloved mother," Ino said, a grin that spoke volumes about the thoughts going inside her head. Naruto looked at the girl with a frown, then looked at his mother. "Why mother?" Kushina merely smiled. "I don't know, Naru-chan," she said. "But I know that your mother loves you." For Ino, this was just gold, Naruto's nickname, the blush that was threatening to paint his cheeks. "Ino," Naruto coughed up a bit, straightening himself. "A word to anyone about this and I will make you regret it." "Play nice, Naruto," Kushina said as the boy took her right hand, already dragging her away. "Come on Ino," she called the blonde girl who was being left behind. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.